Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. A lot of times gardeners make the mistakes of only focusing on flowers in the garden, when in reality it is your shrubs and your evergreens that tie in the garden and carry your space for 12 months out of the year. So today what we're going to do is we're going to take a tour of these two very distinct gardens, but the same thing that they have in common is that evergreen structure that gives us color and texture and movement in this space at 12 months out of the year. Flowers, they will come and they will go and they will fade, but your evergreen structure is here for 12 months and it really is what carries the garden. So if you are, of course, a follower of Gardening with Creekside, you will remember that this space closest to the house is not even a year old. It was last late summer where we completely renovated this space. Now I know when I say that this is a shade garden, you're gonna go, Jenny, it's in the full sun. Yes, it is bright and early in the morning, but this is a predominantly shade garden. And if you are a shade gardener, then you know that in the wintertime, so much of our structure will go away, right? Our hostas die back. A lot of the perennials, your hydrangeas. But the color from these evergreens gives me interest year round. So I love our Electra Blue Cedar. This is such a fun tree. At Christmas time, of course, we put lights on it, but it brings that height and that structure to this space with those beautiful blue green needles on it. So we've got this gorgeous evergreen structure that anchors this space, gives us a vertical interest, and it looks the same for 12 months out of the year and is that consistent force throughout the garden. The Everillo Carex, y'all, Everillo Carex is such an amazing perennial that gives you this beautiful chartreuse color 12 months out of the year. It tends to be more for your shade garden, especially the warmer you are, the more shade you're going to need. This gets about 5 hours of morning sun, a little bit in the afternoon, and you can see that it is clearly doing well. But this is such a beautiful Carex, bright pop of color. Put it next to some dark green hydrangeas, butterfly bushes, and it gives you that nice, consistent, beautiful color. And you'll see that we have it repeated through here in the garden, so it brings consistency to this space. Even when my hydrangeas or my annuals have faded, they are here. Of course, one of a southerner gardener's best friends are camellias. Camellias are, of course, that beautiful evergreen shrub. This is White by the Gate. White by the Gate is a japonica, gives me massive, beautiful white flowers in the wintertime. And again, no matter what the season is, I have got this beautiful evergreen here against a trellis, and she is just gonna grow, bloom, and thrive for the entire season. So between my Electra Blue, my White by the Gate, here we have some nice big blocks of color. They're both green, but they're a totally different kind of green and give us that beautiful structure throughout the entire season. And then, of course, as we come through, I do love, even though they're not evergreen, y'all, it's okay. You can pop in and have that consistency, whether it's those hydrangeas that repeat and you have those flowers throughout the growing season. For example, we have the Fairy Trail Fresco here, and this is a kind of a cascading hydrangea. We have got two in this space that bring us through. So in the summertime, of course, we have those beautiful flowers because everybody, I think, if you garden, you want the flower power. So we have got that throughout here. Another perennial that we have that is repeating is one of my absolute favorites. It is the Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. Ascot Rainbow is an evergreen, beautiful perennial. It has just finished flowering, so I have trimmed it back, but you get this beautiful variegated foliage throughout the entire year. Even in the dead of winter, my Ascot Rainbow is just glorious. And again, I have a couple of them throughout this bed, and so that is tying in the space. One of my absolute favorite additions that is evergreen is the beautiful Dwarf Colorado Blue Spruce. Y'all, we saw this at a local nursery. Yes, we shop at other nurseries, sweet friends of ours, and they had this beautiful blue spruce. Now in the South, it can be very tricky to have the chartreuse and the blues in our gardens because of our heat and humidity. But this sweet baby is absolutely loving life. Again, been in the ground less than a year, has already pushed out tons of new growth. But the Dwarf Colorado Blue Spruce gets the requirements of the full sun because it gets that 5 to 6 hours of this morning sun. However, it gets a break from the hot afternoon and is in complete shade. Look, I just love it. I absolutely love this shrub, tree, whatever you want to call it. So having the different shades of green throughout here, year-round structure in the garden. So while my hostas are absolutely beautiful right now, the hydrangeas are getting ready to bloom. The brunnera is looking great. My Aurelia Sun King gives me that beautiful pop of color. In the summertime, of course, we'll have all that beautiful lushness, but in the wintertime, I still want to have structure and color in my garden, and these evergreens give me that. Now, while this shade garden is kind of that very calming, peaceful, very fun, but it is a very peaceful garden. One more evergreen that I adore, this is a fantastic shrub, and it is loving life, is the Paisley Pup Leucothe. Paisley Pup is that beautiful native evergreen shrub. You can see how it is putting out tons of beautiful new growth. Paisley Pup is fun in the fact of you get that variegation of color. You get the cream, you get the green, you get the new foliage that has almost a burgundy hue to it. It will take on some pink hues as well. But this evergreen shade predominantly loving shrub is going to get some good size to it. Kind of roughly in that like 3 to 4 tall and wide. And because it is a native shrub, we all love those native shrubs, but in this corner, it is just thriving. And you'll notice by the other plants that I have in here, the hydrangeas, the bleeding hearts, the hostas, the pulmonaria. In the wintertime, this is going to anchor this corner, right? Because these guys are going to go away. I do have another Carex, and I've got my Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia to kind of hold this corner in, but don't neglect your evergreens for your garden. Think of the dead of winter. You're not going to have your hostas or your hydrangeas. So let's give some color and interest throughout the garden in the wintertime and give you beautiful color and structure. It is an absolute game changer. The cottage garden on the other side of the driveway, completely different. It is loud and in your face with color, so let's go take a look at that. Now for the big explosion of color, the cottage garden. The cottage garden, she shines in the summertime with her perennials and her annuals that are in full flower. But the bones, the evergreens of this garden, that is what carries it throughout the entire season. The annuals and the perennials, they come and they go, but the structure is here throughout the entire 12 months out of the year. So one perennial that I have dotted throughout this first section, of course, is the lamb's ear. So this beautiful lamb's ear gives me evergreen color, nice silvery blue green. You can see it is very happy, right? It's a great thing about perennials. As they get happy, you can divide them and add them to other parts of your garden, but you will see that I have got 4 of them throughout. So when you're planting your garden, think about those evergreens and repeating them throughout the space, because again, in the winter time, when the annuals are gone and when your perennials are no longer blooming, you have got that evergreen that's through there. So let's think about our evergreens, whether it's a perennial or whether it is a shrub like the Fire Chief Arborvitae. This is going to give me 12 months of color and texture in the garden. And what is so cool about Fire Chief Arborvitae is that it changes with the season. So right now she's in her kind of spring summer wardrobe, right? So you have got this beautiful kind of a a maroon bronze habit on the top of it, right? So the little tips are that brown. It is a very soft arborvitae, and then you go in and you have got this bright green foliage in there. And it's called a Fire Chief, one, because it keeps that bronzy hue to the outside of it. But then in the wintertime, the entire plant is bronzed over. You've got this orange coppery color that brings such fun color and interest to this space. So no matter what the season is, I have got this structure here. And again, we have it repeated throughout here. So I've got one here, I've got one up on the hill, I have another one here, and then on the Amsonia, I have it as well. So in the wintertime, when all of the annuals and perennials are gone, these guys are here and they are showing out and are beautiful. This is going to be in that 3 to 4 tall and wide range. I have not pruned it yet. If you want to give a little shape to it, you certainly could do that. But I do love this arborvitae because it is also very soft to the touch, so it's not going to prick you. But again, having it right next to that lamb's ear brings such color and interest to it. Now, another great one that we have that is going to bring evergreen pops of color is going to be my Touch of Gold holly. Now, this is going to be a nice, short, petite evergreen shrub with this beautiful chartreuse color that throughout the 12 months of the year, we have got this great color to it. It is a full sun plant, so you're going to need that minimum of 6 hours to give you this consistent, bright chartreuse color. It is a soft holly. It is not a prickly holly, so you can absolutely put this in your yard and you don't have to worry about it poking you, but you get this nice low habit. Again, have not pruned this. It has its natural kind of rounded habit to it. Beautiful pops of color. So we have got them in here, up on the hill, up on Hydrangea Hill, up at the chicken coop. So all of this ties in together. So in the wintertime, when it looks a little more bare and empty because the perennials and the annuals are gone, you've got this color structure tying in this garden and holds it all together for those 12 months out of the year. Have another beautiful Fire Chief on the other side of this Amsonia with the Baptisia. Gives me that nice color and structure. Now y'all, one of these fun evergreen shrubs that I will be honest, I did not give enough attention to these plants. This is red sky holly, a pencil holly. And in the landscape world, sometimes pencil hollies can get a bad rap. I adore this plant. So red sky gets its name because the new foliage has this beautiful red maroon hue to it, and it has all of this gorgeous new foliage as it is popping up. I wanted to put the 2 red skies on each side of the steps because it anchors it here. Of course, your red sky holly is going to be much more upright, narrow. It can get in that 8-foot range. We're going to keep it a little bit shorter than that. This has been in the garden for over a year, about 2 years now. Beautiful color on it, evergreen structure. Also though, did you know that hollies can be pollinator plants? That is right. This red sky is in bloom. The tiniest little flowers on this red sky. Last year I was walking by and I was like, why is this plant buzzing? And it was buzzing because of the little honeybees coming to these flowers. It's nice and early in the morning, so they're not awake and out yet. But this plant is absolutely covered in little tiny white flowers that your pollinators of all shapes and sizes love and adore. But to give this nice evergreen height here to the entrance, because we have got 2 on the side of this bed. So having these 2 red sky hollies right here on each side of the steps gives me that evergreen structure and height in the space 12 months out of the year. So with the red sky holly, the Fire Chief Arborvitae, the Touch of Gold, all of these from Southern Living Plant Collection, they really give me the bones to this cottage garden. They give me that year-round interest, and with the holly being here in the cottage garden, supporting the pollinators is just an absolutely beautiful thing to have in your space. And then we talked about how we repeat that Fire Chief and repeat those shrubs. Then I have one down here. Now there's just one down here because this space is obviously going to be much smaller than the other. But again, in the wintertime, we have got that repetition of those evergreen shrubs. Loving the Fire Chief right here in the space. So even in the dead of winter, we have got beautiful, consistent color in this space. Last but certainly not least, to have that evergreen structure in the cottage garden, we've got Roman Candle Podocarpus. Roman Candle is a beautiful upright podocarpus that gives me that variegated foliage. This is going to be hardy in zones about 7 to 10. Evergreen is going to be nice and upright. It can get into that 10 to 15 foot tall range, 3 to 4 wide. I will say from my experience with mine, it is a kind of a slow grower. So do not fret that you're going to instantly have this massive shrub in your garden. Nice, slow controlled growth, but gives me that beautiful variegated foliage. And you've got that Roman Candle with the Fire Chief right here. Again, I just keep harping on this. Throughout the entire year, you're going to have structure here. It is not going to be empty and barren, because I will say when I first started gardening and developing my cottage garden, I really relied on my summer color, right? So the perennials and the annuals. And then in the wintertime, it was absolute bare. There was no interest whatsoever, and it was quite boring. As I have matured as a gardener and as a garden designer, I have absolutely embraced and understood the importance of having that evergreen structure in the garden and repeating it. So that way it looks very intentional, it looks very curated, and very mature as far as a garden. So do not neglect your evergreen shrubs for your garden, whether it is your shade garden, your sun garden, whether it's formal or informal. Those evergreen shrubs are going to bring that color and structure and really carry the garden for you for those 12 months out of the year. So as always, we hope you have found this fun and informative, that you have taken a little nugget from here. Hopefully you maybe have found that, gosh, Fire Chief Arborvitae is a great shrub and I need to add it to my garden. Whatever the case may be, or maybe it was a design tip. Hope you have found it really helpful in your gardening journey. As always, we appreciate you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.